Just general reactions to the road win in Charlotte.
No, it was brilliant, and I was really pleased for the players that they got what they deserved probably over the course of the two home games prior to that. So I think it felt like we'd righted a few wrongs in that sense and sort of got back to where I hoped we'd be and where I think the group deserves to be at this point. So it was a really big win. They take loads of credit in that sense because it's a really tough place to go, and you need to show some real personality and character to go and win there, and they did. And it ended up being far more comfortable, I think, than any team has had it there. So that's credit to a pretty complete performance, I would say.
And how rewarding is it for you, and maybe how much confidence does that build with the group to sort of be so flexible tactically with formations and still have the success that you did?
Yeah, the players have got to feel that we can flex and we can adapt and we can be pragmatic, and that we're going to find a way to make sure that the individual strengths that they have sort of compound over the way in which we put them together. That's not always easy, far easier said than done, and I'm sure we'll make mistakes with that, as we have done up until this point as the year goes on. But I think as long as they feel always that we've got a really strong rationale for the lineup we pick and the way we do it and the way we twist a little bit relative to the opposition, I think they'll, over the course of a year, feel like we've done them justice, hopefully the players, and I sort of stress that we're always doing it within the context of a set of principles that we work to week, and that the system isn't everything, but it's nice to see that you can change and it bears fruit, and that you can get a bit out of players in positions that they might not have expected themselves to do well in.
Speaking of bearing fruit, 3 goals, does it seem like finally? I mean, at home we've struggled, we've had so many shots. How fulfilling is it to see some of those start to go in, not only for you as a manager, but for the guys themselves?
Yeah, we had a big point prior to the game about us being decisive in those moments. We've got to start deciding games for ourselves, which we haven't up until this point. So I think the fact that we took a chance so early, we looked so threatening so early, and then continue to either come very close or take our chances through most of the game was a really big step forward. So that's been the difference so far. We haven't been decisive enough when the game's really gone our way for long periods. So this was a big step forward in that sense. And again, it is easier said than done to be ruthless and clinical. Every manager will, over the course of a season, bemoan the fact that players haven't been. But for us, if we're making the chances that we're making, we have to be converting at least a good number of them into goals.
And at home is a place that we haven't really converted those chances. Is this something that you just continue to harp on throughout this week, and how important is it for those players themselves to see the ball sort of go through the back of the net?
Yeah, it's that fine balance between, we've got to make sure as a team that we're creating the right sort of chances. I mean, the stats can often be misleading in the sense that you can have 25 shots, but you could have 25 poor quality chances, and we want to make sure that we continue to talk about the collective, and the collective making good quality chances. It's not the responsibility solely of the forwards to make sure that they take them, but to an extent it is, and they did that, and they've shown a lot of promise, I would say, across the front 4 or 5 that we've used. Now it's a chance on Saturday to hopefully come into a similar sort of context that we found ourselves in at home in the last couple of games, where we're really banging the door down. We're going to get another hatful of chances, and someone's got to be decisive again in the way that Tani firstly was, and then the other guys were on Saturday.
One of the things we have done successfully, the results may not bear it out, but it has controlled teams offensively at home. Is that something that you look to do this week, especially with a team like SKC, I think, that has scored 13 goals in their last 5 games? Offensively, they're really flowing, but that is one of our strengths at home.
Definitely, I think our strength going forward, I hope, will be that we're a very solid, disciplined, well-organised side that presses well and restricts the opposition. I think we've done that so far, and that will be the basis of all our good performances. I think whilst we've had a load of chances in the home games, it's partly been on the basis that we've pressed well, been well organised, and the opposition haven't had a chance to progress the ball cleanly through the thirds. We've had a really good balance of the game, and that's the basis on which you create chances. So that will be, as it always is, a big part of what we're trying to do this week.
And last one, it is a rivalry game for us in Minnesota. SKC is a team that we've seen play 2 to 3 times every year. It's not quite the Manchester derby, but it is a bit of a rivalry there. Is that something you as a manager, even though it's early days for you, talk to the group about? I know that the fans will be sort of excited for this game, but is that something you approach at all with the players?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm sort of too conscious of, or I can't imagine that I'll make too big a point of it, because we prep to be incredibly competitive aggressive to create an atmosphere at home, irrespective of who the opposition is. Hopefully that in itself will bring an added dimension to it. Hopefully the stadium feels, even another notch more intense than it does at its best there. So hopefully that's only something that can spur us on, I suppose.
Tani, the team was able to go to Charlotte and take care of business. Having a few days to reflect, what can you take away from that match?
I think we went in off a loss, so I think the guys were really riled up for that game. We're ready to go. We had the extra day, during the week to kind of prep and carry out a game plan, and I think that everybody was just kind of locked in. We knew what we had to do. We knew the challenge that Charlotte posed, and I think we went out there and we executed the game plan that Eric gave us perfectly.
There were some tactical changes during the game, including 5 changes in the starting lineup from the last match. How has the team adapted to Ramsay's style these past few weeks?
I think the biggest thing on that is, coming into the year, they've preached a message that it's going to go down to the last guy on the squad. So I think it's been a interesting couple of weeks just learning a lot of new things that Eric has brought in. And for us, it's been an adapting process. It was never going to happen overnight. And I think we're still going to continue to get better. But I think the biggest thing is that regardless of who's in the starting lineup, we're always going to give our all. We're always going to carry out the game plan that we've been given, and I think that's what we did this weekend.
A little bit more on that. Maybe 6 of the last 10 goals from last game that Minnesota had scored were from people coming off the bench. What can you attest to that? You being a few that has scored a few of those goals.
Yeah, I think it plays into the same concepts of just everyone being ready. I think we have a really good team. We have a really deep squad, and everyone knows that there's definitely a chance of you playing. And whenever you go on the field, you're just ready to give your all, whatever that may be, whether it's scoring a goal, whether it's making a tackle. So I think guys who are coming off the bench know they're not just coming just for the sake of minutes. They're coming to make an impact and to try and change the game. And I think guys who've come off the bench all year have done a good job of doing that.
You actually got to play your first start of the season, played 60 minutes, and you were able to contribute with the opening goal. How did that feel for you?
Oh, it felt really good. I think it was credit to Eric for giving me my first start, and I was just happy I was able to repay him for that confidence that he's put in me. And I think for me, just the work that I've put in myself, just to see it come to fruition, it's always a really good feeling, especially as a striker as well. Getting a goal to get the team going, that's always going to be a great feeling. And to get the win as well, which is the biggest thing, I think it's just a really, really good day.
And then you're playing the conference rival this weekend with Sporting Kansas City in front of your fans. What can we expect?
I think we still have a couple days till the game. I think we're going to work on a lot of new things this week as well. And I think just going into the game, we want to keep that same energy we had in the first half and the second half from this past weekend and just bring that into this coming game. I think we've had a couple games where we started a little bit slow, and I think that's been a point of emphasis to try and start off on the front foot. So I think that's one thing that can definitely be expected from us, to start the game off really well and kind of just continue that for the 90 minutes.